Thank you for tuning in to Game Over, presented by Whatever You Say Productions. This episode is proudly sponsored by Anchor FM. If you've been thinking of starting a podcast of your own, but you're not really sure where to begin, check out Anchor FM today. It's a free, easy-to-use platform that everyone at Whatever You Say Productions uses to upload all of our podcasts and send them straight to leading platforms like iTunes and Spotify. Did I mention it's free? Check it out today. Anchor FM. And without further ado, here's everything happening in gaming today, only on Game Over.
This show is brought to you by Whatever You Say Productions, starting conversations since 2018.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 9 of Game Over. I'm one of your hosts on the East Coast. My name is Steve. I hope everyone had a great weekend. Almost done the week. It's Thursday. We're getting there. I'm joined
Again
today.
from the future. Whoa!
Whoa!
I'm joined today with Sarah. Sarah, how's it going?
It's going pretty well. Glad to be back.
Yeah. Got some good news coming up with E3. Got some Kojima stuff, but let's also welcome Kirk in the house. Kirk, how you doing?
Doing good. What up, everybody?
Did you have a fun weekend?
I did. But it's Thursday. What?
Yeah.
Did you have a good weekend, Steve? Did you do anything fun?
I did some binging. I finally caught up on the show Chernobyl that everyone's been talking about.
Oh man,
Dude,
That's good.
it's mind-blowing and so sad.
yeah,
I was kind of expecting it, but I wasn't expecting the way it came out.
yeah.
Yeah.
They jumped right into it.
Yeah.
Are we gonna touch on that? Are we gonna touch
Oh
on
yeah,
that this
we'll
episode?
touch on that. We'll touch on that in free for all.
All right, cool.
Stuff, but let's start things off with some patch notes. So on patch notes, we're going to talk about the recent trailer release of Death Stranding. Now, did everybody watch this thing? Did we see what happened?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's something. Steve, you wanna run through it? Just
I don't know. I don't even know how to explain what I witnessed. But yeah. So from the first reaction, I guess the game's going to play like an adventure style. Again, you're following Norman Reedus with a baby that sees dead things, I guess. So it's happening like Sixth Sense. I guess that's how it's gonna be.
something like that. I don't even know what it was exactly that we watched, but apparently this baby gives him like some kind of supernatural powers and sees things in the future. Mads Mikkelsen is being Mads Mikkelsen. I don't know. Sarah, what do you think about this game?
I didn't get to see the trailer yet, but that sounds insane with
I
a
mean-
superhuman baby.
So the what is it? The special edition. You actually, I think, get a little. Not. I don't even know if you want to call it a trophy, but of a baby in the bottle. I think
my
that's
goodness.
yeah. And I think it already sold out. I believe it already sold out in one day when they announced that. It is something. But from Kojima, I guess it's not really that far off from what to expect with some of his previous games. One of the ones I want to talk about in particular was PT. I don't know if you heard about this. That was announced one E3 some ages ago. But it was like they call it PT, so playable trailer was what it was, like the acronym for. And again, it's just you're stuck in this room. It's all these ghosts and weird paranormal stuff happening. And the first time in any game, it actually made me scream out loud the shit that was going on. And it was terrifying. And it ended up being, once you got to the end of that demo, it was a trailer for Silent Hill, which of course got canceled when Kojima left Konami. But yeah, I think that's what to expect is going to be maybe like a horror style game from this, from what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I mean, he's put out Kojima's put out a hell of a bunch of great games for everybody, but I think this is like, I mean, Silent Hill was great and weird in its own like survival horror type way, but this thing is just like he's just got like a fetus in a backpack, and
Yeah.
I don't get it. I just don't. I don't get it. I feel like you could have gone so many routes with this and gotten a similar effect, but like this is by far the weirdest type of like
Trailer.
plot to a game, or like trailer to like, I don't know what, but it does look really cool. I like how it it kind of, it seems like you said, it plays like that sort of survival horror, like a little bit of like stealthiness to it.
Yeah.
I think it might be open world type game.
That's what it was kind of looking like. And again, you kind of had some flexibility with being able to spawn a ladder to climb places, which gives me a headache just thinking about all the shit that could be tucked away behind things.
Right. Yeah. All the stuff that you could explore. I mean, like the game itself actually looked like pretty incredible.
Yeah.
I couldn't. So the thing that confused me is like the trailer kind of jumps around a good bit. So like I think they start in what looks like to be some kind of futuristic part of the world, and then they like flash back to like a bunker in World War II. I mean it's not and it's also like it's like a 10-minute trailer, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, it's definitely long. And I think I asked somebody, I was like, oh yeah, did you check out the Death Stranding trailer? And they were like, was that for like a movie? I'm like, actually it's for a game, but yeah, I guess I can see where you get that reaction from. Because again, it's like all these cutscenes, and again, you have Norman Reedus, who people are like, oh my god, that's like the Walking Dead guy. I know him as the Boondock Saints guy, but
Me too.
oh yeah, and of course, like him and go ahead.
Boondock Saints all the way. That's all I was gonna say.
Yeah, I love Boondock Saints. It was such a good movie, and it's him and Kojima, Norman Reedus and Kojima have this like weird, like friendship. Like they're just these brothers from different mothers, I guess you could say.
Yeah, seriously.
But yeah, like he was starring in that Silent Hill game that got canceled, so it's not far off to see him in this game. I don't know.
I guess they wanted to do something together, and they put him in this thing.
Yeah, justify hanging out and paid for expenses. Oh yeah, well, we're just bros hanging out, working on a game now. So
yeah, we're just working on a game. No, but I'm so torn on whether or not this game is going to be like an absolute masterpiece that people will talk about and remember for decades, or if this turns out to be like Geely in theaters. Like this is either going to be something that is going to be groundbreaking and amazing and incredibly well done, or people will be laughing about this like the end of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I hope for the first one, because I do hope for Kojima, with him starting this own company, I hope it really does take off, and my reaction being weird is just like, but wait till you play the game, and then it'll just kind of blow up from there. So I guess hopefully we'll see some at E3, which is kind of a good segue into our another patch notes here that we're going to talk about, is sort of the road to E3 and what kind of games are you excited for. So we'll start first with Sarah. What are you getting pumped about for E3? I guess now we're 2 weeks out? Just a little bit less?
A week
Yeah.
from tomorrow.
Ooh.
Well, of course I'm excited for Borderlands 3. I can't get enough of that. Looking at this list, I'm getting excited for Trine 4. I played some of Trine 2, and that was a fun game.
Is that like a RPG?
Yeah, you can cast like spells. It's kind of a platformer, kind of RPG. It's a pretty simple game, but it's really pretty.
Yeah.
Not really simple, but the gameplay is linear. There's a lot of stuff you can do with spells and such, and a lot of little puzzles to solve. So Trine 4 sounds good.
Nice. Is that like, so can you play that as like a couch co-op? Is that like a 4-player, or is it single?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a couch co-op.
Nice.
Yeah, so those are the two I'm most looking forward to.
All Okay.
That's the game. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the way it kind of like there's like 3 classes to pick from. There's like the puzzles to solve and kind of like RPG elements to it. But like, isn't it a side scroller?
Yes, that was the
Oh,
word I was looking for. Thank you. Not
Yeah.
linear, side scroller.
Yeah, same,
okay.
same. Yeah, it's a fun game. I remember because I'm pretty sure they do it like pretty standard. Like there's a mage, a like agility hunter type class, and a like warrior type class. So it's like those 3 are like the ones that you pick from, and they're just like every stereotype from every type of RPG game ever. But I remember having a lot of fun with it, and it gets really, really complicated.
Yeah,
Like further into the game.
Oh.
yeah.
I don't remember if I played Trine 2 or 3. I played one of them, and it was a good time. I think it was 2, so I might have missed 3. So I'm curious to see what 4 looks like.
For it? Huh. I think I got it downloaded. I know I downloaded it. I think it was for like a PlayStation Plus game of the month, and I think I downloaded but booted up once and never played it again. So maybe seeing a trailer at E3 might give me the sort of courage to boot it back
I
There you
think it's
go.
definitely a game you want to play with some
with
buddies.
people. Yeah.
Yeah. It gives it like a more fun element to it.
Well, Kirk, what are you getting jacked about?
There's a couple in here that I'm excited for. Mostly the ones that are like rumored, that I don't know for sure about. But the ones that are like guaranteed that are coming out, Doom Eternal, I'm excited for just because I went through recently and played the last Doom, and it was a very fun game. So I'm curious
Nice.
how this one looks like. The new Star Wars game that's coming out, I'm like
Yes.
torn one way or the other on that. I hope it's good. I hope it's good. I really, really hope it's good.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We'll see about that. I'll let you because I think that's one of the ones you're excited about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just hoping for this franchise to kind of turn around under EA's, jurisdiction here. I'm just getting tired of seeing half-assed Star Wars games, so my hopes are high with Fallen Order because if they don't deliver, I feel like Disney has got to do something because this is just getting ridiculous. It's such
Yeah.
it's such an easy franchise to make video games. Why have there been so limited amount in the last like decade?
They should literally be able to print money with that, like with that market. It's insane.
Yeah,
Uh,
I really do want to see more of that. I hope that we get maybe a playable demo, but we shall
yeah,
see.
I'm definitely gonna seek that out at E3 and
Yeah.
see what more can be found out about that. But the one that I'm beyond excited about, it's rumored, but I don't know if it'll be at E3. It's something that's coming in the future, but George R. R. Martin, the author of the Song of Ice and Fire, he is apparently collaborating with From Software, the people that do Sekiro, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, on some kind of project. They haven't really said much other than that. He talked about it on a podcast that he was like collabing with them to like give them some help on like creative elements to the game. So I'm curious. I feel like after the hit of Sekiro, they're gonna kind of like ride off the coattails of that and maybe just like push their popularity right now with E3 by like hopefully mentioning something.
Right.
I don't think there's gonna be much to show yet, and if there is, I'll be pleasantly surprised. And if they just mention it, I'll be happy. If they say nothing, I think that's kind of. I think anything will be great, but I don't think they're going to be able to say too much just yet. But I think that'll be an incredible whatever it is that comes out.
Nice. How do you think the gameplay style will be sort of that difficulty like Sekiro, or would you hope for more of like an RPG, a little bit more tailored to everybody and not people who want to break a controller in half?
I mean, I personally would want something like Sekiro or Dark Souls, just as I've been enjoying that. So I think one of the things that makes this super interesting is that From Software has never been one to go deep into storylines or plot development or anything like that. It's always just been like, we're gonna put together a game that's gonna make you real pissed when you play the boss fights, and make it as hard as possible. Sekiro, like, I feel like the first third of that game was the storyline was very interesting, but it kind of like takes a nosedive after that. In terms like the gameplay is amazing throughout, but storyline's great. Or storyline takes a
Short.
nosedive early.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if they're working with him, like maybe that's like the kind of thing that they could use to keep it consistent through the whole game.
Yeah.
Either way, like I mean, if it's a kind of hack and slash type game, I'd be okay trying that out. If it's something super hard, I'll be happy with that too.
Yeah, definitely interesting to keep an eye out for.
Yeah. What about you, Steve?
Ooh.
I know there's some stuff in there that we haven't mentioned that I'm sure you're excited about.
So I guess my all eyes and ears on is gonna be Cyberpunk 2077. This game has it's been teased for so long. First announced back in May of 2012. Finally entered pre-production in 2015, and we saw there is a long demo where it does show a lot of gameplay, but I'm just hoping to get a release date because this game has got me so amped. It reminds me of like Fallout meets Blade Runner, like the way the art style is. And again, it's coming from CD Projekt Red, the developers of Witcher 3. So this game is definitely got some good writing, and the fact that it's been worked on for this long, I feel like there's definitely a solid product here. So I'm really can't wait to see what more comes out with that.
Yeah. I remember seeing that that trailer came out a while ago too, didn't it?
Yeah, there was one that they released gameplay footage back in I think October of last year. That showed a lot of sort of how the game plays, the style of stuff. It looks really good. A lot of abilities, guns. I mean, you didn't really see guns. I wanted to see them equip stuff. There was still 40 minutes left of the trailer or gameplay demo that I was watching, so I was like, I'm not gonna sit all 40 minutes just yet.
Yeah, it's a binge to go through.
Yeah.
But it does look really cool. I remember seeing that, and it has like that futuristic kind of what was that game? Mirror's Edge kind of like look to it.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, it seems pretty cool. I'm curious to see about a release date on that too.
Yeah, hopefully my guess would be December, kind of around the holiday season of this year. I feel like that'll be a good time.
Yeah,
that's a pretty high pipe dream right there.
It's wishful thinking. I mean, it's the time for
you gotta think positive
to come out. But it's the same people that did The Witcher. You said?
Yeah. Did you play? Did you finish that yet?
No. I've started it. I finally started it. So I can appreciate what they're probably going for with this game.
I could talk about that game for hours. I love that game.
It's pretty deep. I will say though, and this was my problem the first time I tried going through that game. I find the combat to be very boring.
I get it. So one of the things I took away is the lore of the game is so rich. So as you're going to fight an enemy, you just kind of want to prepare yourself. And I think that's what helps a lot too, because there are times where the combat does feel easy and it could go down shit's creek real quick if people get a couple of pot shots off you. At least when fighting monsters, it can get really difficult. And sometimes you're just leveling in a low area zone, and next thing you know, you stumble upon something that shows up as skull level difficulty and just shoots you in one shot.
Yeah, I mean, it's very detailed, and I've actually been enjoying just like picking up like items off the ground, just like flowers and fruits, and killing like little wolves and stuff, getting meat, upgrading like weapons and whatnot. But right now, I'm still very, very early on. But the thing I just did was like getting the details on baiting and killing the griffin.
Oh yeah, jeez, you're real early. God, don't strike this game off so early. It gets better. It gets way better.
I'm not striking it off just yet. I'm just saying, like the combat that I went through, I'm like, okay, all right.
It does get really cool. Okay. The combat evolves, and when you do those like one-shot finishers on people, it feels good.
Yeah. I'll keep at it.
Yeah.
I gotta have something to take me through the summer and into before Classic WoW comes out.
Yeah. But again, I guess one other game I would kind of want to mention here is Ghost Recon Breakpoint. That was one that was kind of teased earlier this month, I guess, or late May. Yeah, I guess I don't know how you would put it, but that game looks kind of cool. Interested to see how it plays. Wildlands was all right. Depends on who you get partied with. You can have a terrible time, but definitely.
Is it a similar game as like
Wildlands? It looks like it. They said they kind of fixed a lot of the stuff that was wrong with Wildlands in terms of like the driving. So I'd be curious to see what new to the combat is, or like mission styles instead of like fetch and go get, or just go over here and kill this person. So definitely want to see more of that. Dying Light 2. Did you guys ever play the first one?
No. That sounds like a Sarah type game though.
Yeah, zombies.
It sounds like it. Oh. Zombies.
Yeah. It's parkour meets zombies.
Interesting.
It's a fun one. It's definitely scary when you get caught at night and shit starts chasing you, but it's definitely a good one.
Isn't it kind of like damn it, what was that game? Dead Island?
Dead Island, yes.
Yeah.
It does feel like Dead Island, except they fix a lot of the clunkiness with Dead Island, so I would definitely pick out Dying Light over Dead Island.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
Any other games you guys want to mention?
Sarah, any from your side that you're excited about? Any other ones?
This Stranger Things game sounds interesting. So Stranger Things 3, the game. No release date yet. Or pre-order, but...
Oh, it's kind of like retro art style.
Yeah. It should be interesting. I'd like to see what they do with that.
Yeah. So you've watched all the seasons, right?
Yeah. Such a great show.
Oh, yeah. I love that show. All right. I guess that'll just wrap things up for Patch Notes here. Let's get into free-for-all. All right, so free-for-all, we're going to kick it off with some new shows. And, of course, I mentioned in the beginning, Chernobyl, now currently rated better than Game of Thrones on IMDb. Short miniseries on Hobo. Kirk, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, this show I did not really expect much from. I threw it on with my fiance. We were just like, hey, this show came out. Let's give it a shot. Threw it on, and like the whole first episode, I don't think we said a single word to each other. There's just this. It's weird because it feels like a horror show or a horror movie where like there's like that impending doom or that like dread that's like coming throughout the whole show and like the whole first episode, but like there's not like a scary monster lurking in the corner. There's not like a guy with a hockey mask like waiting to chop your head off. It's the dread is like this, radiation, and they do a really good job of like just showing like how terrifying this stuff is when left unchecked, and just like how dangerous like lying at a high level can be for an entire country and possibly the world.
Right. In the first episode, they're like sitting there, they're like, oh yeah, we got everything under control, and I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, you're not even fucking close.
I mean, it's like the thing that I found absolutely crazy is they're like, oh, our meters go up to whatever it is, 3.2, 3.22 Kirks or something like that. And then that's like the highest reading they have. So they're like, oh, there's just 3.2 Kirks. Like we're good.
Yeah, that's just a couple X-rays. That's not a big deal.
Yeah, it's just a couple chest X-rays. It's no big deal. And like, meanwhile, they're like, the one guy's like, well, that's exactly the limit of that meter. So how do they know that that's the limit and it's not higher than that? It's just like such a simple concept. And he's like, right. I don't know about that. It's like saying like it's like if somebody's house is like on fire and you're like, you have a thermometer that goes up to, like 98 degrees, and you're just like, no, this house isn't on fire. It's only 98 degrees. Wood doesn't combust until whatever, like 200 degrees. So like, we're fine. like, and you see the magnitude of this damage, and like these people that are just like, and the thing that I appreciate is that they didn't go over the top with the radiation, like, like
People's skin like melting off, even though that's like
right.
theoretically what's happening, but like not like horror film, like he's just standing there and like piece of his flesh are just like dropping in, nothing crazy.
Right. Yeah, like they didn't go like crazy with that, like make them like green or do anything like that. Like they did it in a genuinely scary way. Like when that guy at the end of the first episode, I think, and he has to like go stand over like the open thing,
look down,
and they later in a later episode they're like standing out on that area without any like protective gear for more than 2 minutes is certain death.
Yeah, it is haunting how terrifying that situation was and how little they knew about how terrifying that situation was.
Right. I mean, I think that's the scary part about it is that like they're all kind of like there's like a handful of people that know the magnitude of what's going on, and there's like 50,000 people in like the neighboring city.
Yeah.
And like none of them know what those are all just like blue collar workers. They don't have a clue about radiation. They're just like, oh, the power plant people. They're doing power plant stuff.
Yeah, and people like, and it's crazy because like the first episode, so like an explosion happens, and people are like, oh, let's go check it out. I'm sure it's nothing crazy, and they're just like standing out there. Little did they know, like the way the camera was like showing sort of like, not like, I guess you could say particles like hitting people's like faces and like children and everything, and you're like, oh my god, all these people.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, it just does such a good job of like creating that feeling of dread and like I said, impending doom, and just this uneasiness. Like the whole time you're watching it, you're just like uneasy with everything that's going on. It's like there's no point where you're like, oh, they're safe or like they're gonna be okay. Like you just know, like the whole time it's just this feeling of dread. It's something that's impressive to see them do.
Yeah. Sarah, have you watched this show yet?
No, I actually don't have HBO. I've seen little short trailers here and there, and it definitely looks interesting because I'm one of those people that wants to go to Chernobyl today and check out the abandoned theme park that they have and just explore the area, but I know the radiation is still too high, so I can't imagine it at the time.
Oh my god, I wouldn't even, like, after watching this, I would like, get me nowhere near that fucking place, because to like, oh yeah, it'll take 50,000 years for this to like disappear, or like the half-life on it or something. It's like, oh god.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like creepy to go see and like fascinating, but if I knew I could be guaranteed safe from this stuff, I would definitely go check it out because I think it'd be fascinating to see. But I don't think I could be guaranteed that safety, and I don't want to take that risk and have uranium piercing my skin.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
It's understandable.
The one thing they also are doing, the showrunners, they have a podcast that goes along with each episode. It's about the same length of an episode. I think it's an hour long, where they go into all like the details and like the cinematic like choices they made with everything they were doing, kind of like go into like more of the details around the real stuff that happened.
Jeez.
It's a really fascinating podcast to listen to, and I kind of wish more shows did stuff like this. I think there's like, I remember Breaking Bad did this, and I remember Walking Dead still does this, but Talking Dead and Talking Bad, where they like go into the episode right after, because I feel like when a show like this is that good, what's the first thing that you do as soon as the episode ends? You pop onto Google and start seeing what everybody else is talking about. And this show just is like, they're like, we'll facilitate that discussion and have everybody come here and talk about it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I wish more shows did that. I think it's a nice way of like continuing to, keep the discussion going. But yeah, check out the podcast if you are because I think at the time we're recording this, the
Fifth
season
episode.
finale is going to
Yeah.
be like an hour after we're done.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch it.
Yeah, check out the podcast though. And Sarah, you can enjoy that without having HBO. It's
And
just
Yeah.
all
Spotify.
about the crazy things that went down.
That sounds amazing. I'm a huge history buff. I'll probably give that a listen for sure.
Yeah.
Nice.
The director. Sorry, the other thing too that I remember seeing was the director of I think the whole show has done like a handful of episodes of The Walking Dead as well.
Oh, interesting.
Like the most recent season of that. Yeah, so he's like, I think he's like familiar kind of with like that type of shooting, and I think that's probably why it feels a little bit like
Yeah.
a film.
Yeah, I get that. So, any other shows you guys want to talk about? I know Sarah and I were talking about before you got here, Kirk. I was starting to binge Peaky Blinders, and I believe they just got renewed for a new season.
Yes, they did, and I am so excited.
The Peaky Blinders.
It is such a good show. I was telling Steve before that I started to watch it. I watched the first episode and I was like, it's not really grabbing me. And then my friend who had been binging it was like, no, you really have to give it a shot. So I was like, okay, I'll watch the first episode again. And I was like, watch the second episode and I was hooked.
Oh, yeah. And that's the same for me. It took me a couple tries to get into it. I kept falling asleep. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. And then after the first 2 episodes, I'd say, yeah, that's when it finally got me to. I was like, all right, I can keep watching this.
Yeah.
So the funny thing with Peaky Blinders is, I have watched some of it, but I downloaded I think the first 4 episodes like a year and a half ago about before I went on a vacation, and there was like a lot of downtime. I went to Costa Rica. There was a lot of like travel between like the cities that we were seeing, like a couple hours each way. And I knocked out the first 4 episodes of that within like the first, I don't know, like quarter of the trip. And I was like, damn it, this is so good. And I wanted to like watch more of it, but the internet over there is so terrible. I couldn't download any more episodes. So I watched the first 4. I absolutely loved it. And then I never like continued when I got back to the States.
Oh, man.
But
go back to
yeah,
it.
do it. It's on Netflix now.
Yeah. I when I was watching it, I remember it was on Netflix. But yeah, I definitely need to go through and pick that up because I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Was it always a Netflix show, or was it like Showtime or something?
I think it was a BBC One show, and I think it's going to be coming out on BBC Two for this season.
So it'll be some time before Netflix gets that season.
Unfortunately, but at least it's in the making.
Okay.
And that keeps me going.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll definitely follow it. I think I'm on season 3 right now, so I'm getting there. Ever so slowly.
I'll probably start from scratch again just because it was a year and a half ago.
I love their accents, but like I told Sarah, I was like, I have to watch that shit with subtitles on because sometimes they're speaking. I'm like, the fuck are they saying? Like, what?
Like I said.
Exactly.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a good one.
It seems like a good show though. I'll pick that back up. Jess and I, my fiance, have a laundry list of shows we're gonna be watching. But the one we just most recently finished was The Sopranos, and we somehow, I have no idea how her and I both have avoided this, but we knew the cut to black ending, but we didn't know anything about like where it cuts to black, why it happens, like what's going on that like leads to that. So we were genuinely like surprised with what happened when we got to the end of that, and I was like, huh, okay. I was like, that was a good show. I can see why people liked it.
Were people pissed at the ending though, because it didn't really resolve things?
No, it left things incredibly open ended, but I kind of enjoyed that. Like I think it would have been cheesy if they would have done that show with like either like Tony getting killed or like Tony going to jail. So like instead they leave it. It's really interesting how they did the ending, and I think it was something I needed to watch like a couple times before I like understood it. Which back when the show aired, I don't think that was an option for most people. I don't think they really had like The Sopranos on demand yet, and I don't think HBO was as readily accessible.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I watched that last scene like 5 or 6 times after, and I was like, okay, I get where they're going with this now.
Okay. Yeah, my dad loved that show. He praised it, and I don't think I watched a couple episodes with him. Like, I'd sit down and watch it, and it seemed like a cool, like, concept I could get behind, like a cool show, but just never stuck with it.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's an undertaking though. I think we started watching it like last summer. And
Jesus.
We just finished it. I mean, we
Holy
weren't like
hell.
we had like other stuff we were watching in between, but that was always like our throw something on while we're eating dinner kind of show.
Wait, you mean that's not The Office? What the fuck's the matter with you?
I mean, we'd put that on too. Like every once in a while, you don't want to.
What?
You don't want to just watch that. No. We'll always throw that on. Like, I mean, it's always a good show to have on, but like our lazy Sunday show, I would say, is more The Sopranos. We would knock out like 4 or 5 episodes then.
Nice.
So we just finished that, and what we just picked up, because we were both pretty disappointed and left like a feeling of like emptiness after Game of Thrones ended.
Perfectly understandable.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people felt that way. We started watching Rome from on HBO from like,
yes.
I think it's like 2007 or something like that.
I do believe I've heard of the show.
It's really, really good.
Yeah?
It's really, really good. Yeah, it's crazy to me, but like this show is we watched like I think the first 5 episodes. It's only 2 seasons, and I think like 25 episodes total, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So very, very like easily watchable in like, a week or two. But it is where Game of Thrones got its roots from, and you can see it so clearly how much Game of Thrones was kind of looking at what Rome did and kind of mimicking and mirroring off of what they did. From what I found out, the reason that they ended Rome was because it was too expensive. They just they couldn't keep it going because it was so expensive to do back then. And then Game of Thrones came along, I think like 2 or 3 years after Rome ended. And they're very it's a very similarly shot show. It's been really enjoyable though, and there's a lot of people from Game of Thrones that are on the show. So like Mance Radar is Caesar in this show. Edmure Tully is Brutus. What's her name? Ilaria Sand from the Sand Snakes.
Oh yeah.
Oberyn's side chick.
Right.
That girl. She's in it too. There's a couple that are from Game of Thrones, and they just recycle so many actors on HBO.
Yeah, I wonder if that show would be something HBO would kind of renew, that would hopefully get the fans talking about, like, oh, maybe we should pick this show back up and drop something new. Because again, I feel like the HBO release schedule for the next year, aside from Westworld, I don't know what else I'm gonna watch.
Silicon Valley, about it. But as far as like big epic shows, not much going on there. And there is a ton of content around like Roman empires and all that stuff. Like again, I was watching the first couple episodes and I was like, did this 13th Legion of the Roman Empire exist? And did they do all these cool things? And sure enough, I popped on, Googled it, and yeah, 13th Legion was badass.
Historically accurate.
Yep. It's very fun show to watch. I would say if you're feeling sad and lonely after Game of Thrones, this is a nice filler.
Good to fill the void, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it definitely fills the void of what Game of Thrones left.
People of Free Folk on Reddit have just been losing their fucking minds.
Oh man, it's been so funny to watch. I almost am like okay with how terrible the show ended.
Yeah,
now that the tasty memes have come out.
This is entertaining enough.
I'm just curious, like how long they're gonna keep going on and on about this for.
I don't know, man. Probably till the books are released.
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny to me because they keep coming up with like original jokes. It's like not even rehash shit. It's just like they keep getting original jokes. I don't know how they do it, but they're so fucking funny.
Oh man, that's good. Oh, so I did get some hot off the press news. So the Jeopardy dude, James Holzer, he lost.
No
Lost
way.
today.
What was his winning
man.
streak?
Oh, I'm about to Google it. See, Morgan was watching it.
God, like 50 something episodes or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, what was it? His dominant player just was a 58,000 short of 2.52 million. So he fell short of Ken
Wow.
Jennings.
Wow.
Yeah.
But 2.5 million ain't bad.
I thought
Yeah.
he was going to be on there for a long, long time. Just the way his style of play was different.
Yeah. He was fun to watch.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Still though, you're like $2.4 million richer. No big deal from fucking Jeopardy.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I think Alex Trebek and all his people are like,
What
fucking
is
lose,
a
fucking
millionaire?
lose. Like just pulling their hair out like we don't have $2.5 million to give him right now.
That's what I was wondering. I was like, how much money does this network have? Because the guy was averaging like $70,000 a game that he was on, and the show's 5 days a week. So Christ.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was just putting down $250,000 plus a week. Oh, Jesus Christ. Why can't I be smart?
Right, I'll take that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it.
Yeah. All right, good stuff. Well, we will see y'all next week for our season finale of Game Over that'll air on Thursday, June 13th, which will be the day of E3. That's that is exciting.
It'll be the last day of E3, yeah.
Yeah. So, well, I'll check out here. I'll start first. My name is Steve. You can follow me on Instagram at Steve from Game Over. That's STEVE. Throw it to Kirk.
And you can find me at Kirk from Game Over. That's KIRK, not STEVE.
And I'm Sarah, and I'm different from everyone else, and you can follow me at Lady Danger Chaos on Instagram.
Nice. All right, we will see y'all next week.
Later.
Thank you for listening to Game Over.
Brought to you by Whatever You Say Productions, starting conversations since 2018. To learn more, join us at GameOverThePodcast.com.